Hello guys, and welcome to this episode of the Hunt Weapon Guide. Today I'll be looking at the drilling rifle and shorty. The drilling is one of my favorite weapons. It has proven itself reliable for myself and quite fun ever since its release. My main gripe with it is its price, which, is kind of its drawback, but I personally always enjoyed it. I'm gonna tell you how to best utilize the drilling, why it's strong but also weak, and show you just some of my favorite clips now. So let's go.
He hit me. The poison guy, yeah.
Hit her.
Yeah, well, the other guy, where is he?
Further left, I think. Yep.
Oh,
Good one.
okay.
Only the one the red left.
Anyway, the basic drilling costs $530 hunt dollars and is one of the most expensive weapons available from the get-go. It comes with a bunch of ammo types, my favorite being Dum Dum, but we'll get to that in a second. The drilling is a very unique rifle. It has two ammo types, just like the Lemad carbine, to choose from, that being a shotgun slot and a primary cartridge slot. The benefit of the drilling though is the fact that the primary is medium ammo with relatively high damage and the ability to quickly follow up shots, and the shotgun is between the Romero and the rival, meaning that it's relatively consistent, making it really useful as a backup in case you get pushed. Let's just look at the drilling stats. As I said already, it has very high damage, it has a high fire rate, and it has two shots, compared to the Springfield, for example, only having one shot, or with fast fingers, 4 shots. Let's go over its custom ammos really. The first one that I usually use is Dum Dum ammo, aka bleed. This ammo type causes heavy bleeding to the enemy, which is especially dangerous since the drilling has such a high damage, meaning that the enemy is usually left with around 20 HP and heavy bleed, forcing them to retreat into cover. Sure, longer range reduces that effect due to the damage drop-off, but Dum Dum is still my favorite ammo to use on the drilling, and I don't really use full metal jacket or high velocity on it. Let's move on to FMJ. FMJ increases the damage drop-off range by around 10 meters, making it 40 meters like long ammo rifles, and it also increases the bullet penetration through walls, allowing you to more easily follow up a shot if an enemy escapes behind a fence, thin wooden wall, or similar objects. Then we also have high velocity. High velocity is great if you're good with hitting headshots or quick follow-ups, since it increases the velocity, making it much easier to fight at range, therefore either improving your ability to headshot the enemy or making it easier for you to get that double tap on target without having to compensate for too much of the flight time of the bullet. Its drawback is reduced ammo count, obviously, and the fact that a high velocity has a brighter muzzle flash in combination with more recoil, and the drilling already has the longest recoil animation of all rifles and a very harsh recoil at that, which kind of feels weird. That is like my main gripe with the rifle as well, that its recoil is very weird, and that is something that you will have to get used to if you want to succeed with it. Hence why I personally avoid high velocity, but you need to find out if you need the wall penetration of full metal jacket, the damage like I do from Dum Dum, or if you prefer high velocity due to your playstyles and preferences. Now let's move on to the shotgun slot. The shotgun slot has few ammo types. Obviously you start with basic buckshot, which is usually the recommended choice. Then you have penny shot, which some people like to use to quickly get rid of bosses or increase their CQC capability. But do remember, penny shot has no wall penetration, fires 5 pellets, and is very erratic, making it partially unreliable. Then you have flechette. Flechette is kind of a weird one on the drilling. Due to its single shot nature, that means that if you don't one-shot the enemy with your flechette, there is a very high chance you may die, because flechette trades the one-shot capability of normal buckshot for an extended range and the ability to cause light bleeding to the enemy. While flechette is certainly not useless, it should be considered with care and more as a backup weapon to finish off an enemy struck with your rifle barrel that is rapidly closing in on you. It is not a good tool on its own due to the fact that the damage is so erratic and can sometimes not kill the enemy, meaning that if the enemy is going for a melee charge, there's a very high chance you may die. Let's move on to the last shotgun ammo type, the slug. The slug is a singular projectile which combines all the shotgun damage that you can achieve with this round into one single projectile. Great when you're fighting in crowded places because of the fact that you make sure that all the damage goes into the enemy and not some random objects in the world, but it's relatively bad due to the fact that I personally consider the shotgun my backup weapon. I personally prefer using my rifle for ranged applications. And while the ability to potentially get a one-shot is nice, potentially a slip-up could cause you to die. And if you're not running either a backup shotgun on top of that or a penny shot derringer, it could get dangerous pretty quickly due to the lack of a secondary for close range. Anyway, let's move on to the drilling playstyle. The drilling mostly benefits from you taking good shots. Do not try to spam this weapon. It will only cause you trouble. The drilling, due to its high recoil animation and the slowness of it, has a lot of problems when being pressured. And if you miss your shots, you actively have a worse Springfield or similar rifles, meaning that the enemy can just rush you down or engage you due to the fact that you have longer reload times and slower recoil animations. My advice with the drilling is try to go for body shots if you're not sure about a headshot, because the drilling only really unfolds its strength if you hit. If you miss, the drilling is actively the worst gun in the game. And while what some of you may say, well, yeah, sure, any gun is bad then. No, the drilling's slow recoil animation, 2-shot capacity, and high recoil make it so that the gun is very, very unwieldy. So please try to take your time when aiming shots, especially if the engagement hasn't started yet. Perhaps close the distance if you need to, since you usually have a shotgun to back you up. When you do get a body shot within the max damage range, you pretty much guarantee that the enemy will not push you or will be put in a very tough position, allowing you to finish him off with a frag grenade, perhaps a stalker beetle, really anything of your sorts. You can try pushing them, but remember to use your shotgun then, due to the fact that the enemy may be expecting you and trying to ambush you in the last seconds he has before he may go down. Now let's move on to the variants. The variants, in my opinion, are much superior to the basic drilling, those being the two drilling shorties. The drilling shorty base is just a drilling shorty with reduced muzzle velocity, higher sway, and of course reduced damage drop-off and drop range. This leads to a situation where you have to decide whether you want the benefits of the large drilling or the shorties. For me, that is not a hard decision because the shorties are much cheaper, over $200 cheaper, and they, if you count the drilling hatchet, the little shorty with the axe attached to it, offer more utility. I do not want to pay for full-length drilling for slightly better damage drop-off / drop range and a higher velocity. I do not care for that. I prefer having the drilling hatchet on me, which allows me to deal with AI when I'm in a pinch and is overall cheaper while giving more utility. I personally found that using the shorties honestly isn't much worse than the drilling. Like, sure, there is the sway that you get with that, but the sway really doesn't matter since, in my opinion, you're supposed to go for body shots anyway, and you shouldn't take shots that are too high risk. The shorties mostly work well with either a full-length weapon if you have quartermaster, for example a shotgun, to trick the enemy into pushing you and then whipping out your primary shotgun, or they work well in a medium loadout with, for example, a spawn of shotgun or different rifles in case you have preferences, or maybe something like a bow, since the drilling is a great backup tool and it usually does very reliably at range. The hatchet is just a normal drilling shorty, but with the addition of a hatchet allowing you to dispose of AI better and cave people's skull in if you miss your shotgun blast and you're in such close range that you just have to go for it. In summary, the drilling, especially the base variant, is a expensive medium ammo rifle that fires very lethal ammunition in the form of dum-dum and can be equipped to either fire FMJ for more wall penetration or high velocity for better long-range performance. It utilizes either a 2-tap or 50% head tap ratio and is therefore easy to learn but hard to master. It has a very high recoil and a very clunky recoil animation and a very stall price tag of around $500. The drilling shorties, on the other hand, are relatively cheap at around $300, offer huge amount of utilities and are great secondaries to shotguns or medium ammo loadouts like bows or crossbows, since they offer you great ranged capability and high flexibility for a cheaper price tag than the base drilling. The drilling also has high lethality and is one of the quickest killing guns in the game, but it requires a lot of learning to master and should only be picked up once you've gotten confident in the game's overall gunfight. Meaning you should probably play easier guns like the Centennial or Vetterli beforehand to get used to medium ammo and aiming it. Once you feel comfortable with it, you can give the drilling a shot and just discover it for yourself. I personally recommend the drilling once you've gained a feeling for how to engage in combat and know which shots to take and which you shouldn't. Anyway, have a nice day, and I'm sorry for the long delay and no upload. It's just simply been very difficult with the exam period. I hope we can all enjoy this guide. While it was a bit improvised, I tried to just simply make sure that I included a very easy to understand guide with still information relevant to using it. My guides were never about the most objective information. I just simply try to share my advice with the people that I want to reach. Anyway, have a nice day, happy hunting in the bayou, and see you.